All right, we're here to kick some chickens with Clay Martin. How you doing, brother?
Doing well, man. How about you?
I am fantastic. I have the bourbon that is going to fuel tonight's discussion, as always. So before we get more into Clay, so tonight I don't usually do an Angel's Envy. I'm not the biggest fan, but this was a store pick from Lawler's in Napa. I got over Christmas break, so it's a higher proof. It's 110 proof, which is more my jam. It is still finished in the port barrels that Angel's Envy is known for. So it's usually a 4 to 6 year blend, and then they do about 6 months or so finishing. So they were one of the first to get really popular with finishing bourbons, which just means you let it do its typical aging, and then you do it in some sort of barrel, rum, port. Obviously, Scotch is pretty famous for doing their stuff in port, and so they do that in port. And port is obviously from where? Clay, where's port from? Portugal. All right.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's what I got going tonight. And I went to I even got this little Angel's Envy glass. Clay's frozen. We got to see if he comes back.
Oh, it's super fancy.
Yeah. Okay. Now he's back. All right. Yeah. So I went to this World of Whiskey event in DC a couple months back, and Angel's Envy. So the actual event was handing out free little glasses or whatever, right? But they're super cheap. And so the Angel's Envy booth was like, oh, watch this. We're going to come with these. And so everybody just went to them and got this. So it does have the little Angel's Envy on it. You probably can't say, yeah. So they were the smart ones who either reconned out what was getting passed out and no one did any work on that, or they were just smarter. So they brought thousands of these and handed them out free advertising in addition to the solid bourbon. So there you go.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic.
All right. Well, Clay, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk more next time.
It's been real. It's been fun. Get out.
Yeah. All right. So, dude, the first thing I really wanted to get your opinion, because usually, I know you come on about once a year. Usually you do have a book to usually promote as well, which is good. You do have one that's out. I still don't know how to pronounce it, so I want you to hit that first.
Wrath of the Wendigo.
Wendigo.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here pronouncing this thing.
Wendigo. Yeah, there's a lot of Wendigo is, I believe, the correct pronunciation. That's certainly how us Texans are going to do it. So that's the correct way. Then.
Okay, and what's that one about? Because you've got a few books. You're an actual author. You should have been a SEAL. You write a lot of books. So
but I never write them about me though, so I couldn't.
That's true.
See, that's the difference.
That's fair. All right, that's a good point. So what's this one? What's this one take on? Is this pick on Prairie Fire or what?
No, this is totally new. So this is a fiction book, totally fiction, absolutely fiction section.
Not gonna happen. Yeah,
right, not gonna happen. But it's about these Commando Steve dudes that realize the country is like totally effed and all this crazy stuff's happening, and their fictional country is ruled by like satanic pedophile dudes that stole an election, all this crazy stuff. So they're like, okay, nah, dog, and they decide to break a piece of it off, starting in the Northwest, and it's all about their struggle.
Okay, so it doesn't sound like it ends there. So it sounds like there's going to be more.
Yeah, I'm planning it as a trilogy. We'll see how that shakes out. But yeah, that's kind of that was the start piece.
Man, and I almost feel bad every time you do come on, because you've written a lot in the 3 years that we've been doing this, which I respect, but I also get a little disheartened by, because I think I asked you the first time you learned to write a book, or you took the kind of the concept from Stephen King, right? Just go do it.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I still haven't done the stuff that I've been talking about doing since 2009. So
it's actually difficult. It's been a funny year for me on the book writing front too, because I wrote enough books, just brute force attack, that I finally met some like actual like professionals and stuff, like that like know what they're doing, and like host writers workshops that are expensive, like very expensive to go to, all this stuff. And one of them actually told me, like, he actually asked if I wanted to attend one of his things. He's like, you don't actually need to go though, because you already got the hard part down. I'm like, what's that? He's like, just put the words on the paper.
Yeah.
So it actually there's a lot of weird stuff that happens with people. Most people are capable of doing it. I mean, absolutely, it's not even that difficult. It's honestly what the theory out there is. It's actually fear that holds most people back, and it could be like a subconscious fear, because it's such a weird thing if you haven't done it. It's putting a lot of shit out there that maybe you didn't want to do, And
That's
so
fair.
it's like anything else, man. It's like any other like nerd shit that we're into. There's
Yeah.
always a little bit of fear too, like, like, am I a dumbass? Am I gonna write some like total bullshit? But you're not. You're gonna be fine. It's
Yeah.
neither of us are gonna be Shakespeare. Neither's like 400 years from
Not
now,
with
they're
that
probably
attitude, that's for sure.
right? We're gonna invent time 400 years from now. They are talking about prairie fire. I'm like, oh fuck, that was it. I was Shakespeare. I was
No,
the guy.
in 400 years, it's going to be the Krav Maga guy who comes back and like, that fucking Clay Martin in 2020, he wrote some shit. I would fuck him up if he was today. He's not. He's dead. Yeah, you're good. I still
Krav
get a
Maga,
kick out of
dude.
that, man.
Krav Maga guy's pissing on my grave. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I love that. I still get a kick out of it. I bring that up with my brother every now and then. We get together. Where did you come on? No, you probably didn't. I think it's been before that. Like last summer, it was around this time. It was in July. My family all came up and visited, and I don't even know if you remember the story. I probably put it in the chat, but when my brother and I were wrestling and we broke the coffee table.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he choked me out with my own arm. He's like, but he talked through what he was gonna do to me. I'm like, no, you're not. Fuck that. And he's just like, watch, here we go. And I'm like, oh no,
son of a bitch. That makes it worse. It makes it worse.
It really does. Like, and that's the other thing I really want to get into since I've been out here. I've been able to kind of find my way and get kind of solidified. But I've always wanted to get into just like Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Like that stuff just really interests me. It always has, and that's why I watched. UFC, and I got all that from my brother. But I found I've scoped out a spot. I really want to go try and do that because I was decent at it when we did it. Because in drill sergeant school, they do the combatives thing. And this was it's like a 40-hour crash course on it. Right. So it's not super in depth, but I picked it up fairly well. And I thought I was kind of decent at it. And I kind of liked it. Like, I wasn't getting punched in the face, which I don't like. I know.
Yeah, that's awful, actually. Yeah, it sucks.
Right. I know. Like, I would rather get the ground stuff first, and then we'll work on the whole striking thing. Because probably like you and my brother, you guys don't mind getting punched in the face. I'm still of the mindset, if I have to,
I do now. I've had enough TBIs that I won't do striking anymore either.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to think. I don't have any more brain cells to lose. Like we're done. But I'll still do the ground stuff. But it is actually important. There was a balance point to have at least a little bit of striking. Do a little bit of MMA with somebody or some kick, something. As it is funny, sometimes you see the wrestling pure guys. It doesn't happen real often, but it does happen occasionally. They get a hold of a striker that will just absolutely put their ass down into work. And it's wild. It's like going back and actually watching the old original UFCs, like 1, 2, and 3 with like Hoist. That dude couldn't strike shit.
No, he couldn't, but no one could fuck with him either. That was so weird. Like, it was such an evolving, medium that was going on. But yeah, like that dude showed up in the gi. Just looking like he just came off like a 20 drink bender at the local bar in Brazil and was just like,
he's like this big around, like, hey, I left my biceps at the bar.
Like he was listed at what, like 180, and that dude was lucky if he was 180. I know he's kind of tall. He was like 6 feet tall. Like he wasn't short or anything, but like that dude walked up like for those who aren't going to actually watch this, but he literally looked like some dude you just pulled out of a bar and was like, dude, you need to go home. And he just showed up like, yo, who wants to get fucked up with my gi? Because I'm going to use it to choke you out with. It was great. It was really great. Do you follow that account on Twitter? I think it's like Tex Chatham or some shit.
Yeah, actually, it's a funny thing. I didn't know this for a long time, but we were actually recon Marines together.
Oh, I didn't even know he was one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a fucking small planet, man.
Yeah, it is a fucking small planet. It is a small planet. And he actually authenticated that by throwing some shit at me that you had to have like literally been there to have seen it. And I was like, holy shit, man. I mean, shit I hadn't thought about in 20 years. I'm like, wow, bro. But I followed.
Okay. Well, I think it was last week. He posted something of like, I don't know if it was a street fight or if it was just a throwback to a picture of an old fight where it's just like the worst thing you can kind of run into. And I may be paraphrasing this completely wrong. It's like someone who wants to wrestle and they'll out wrestle you. But then if you can wrestle, they'll just strike you and you can't strike them. And it was just some weird thing. I'm trying to remember what he posted, but I was just like, yeah, man, I remember learning that because like the time I did this drill sergeant school, this was 2008. So like Matt Hughes, I think, was a UFC champ.
Yeah.
They showed a bunch of the videos.
Yep.
And that dude just kind of came and took it by storm because it was like the evolution of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Like you had an American who would just wrestle his ass off, and he didn't really have to do anything else because he was just so strong and quick.
Yeah.
And then like was that like when Liddell was coming around as well? 09. Liddell might have been a little later.
He was, I think he was actually before that, man. I think Chuck Liddell was like 2004, 2005.
Yeah, it might have been going on. I mean, it's different, but yeah, Liddell was always one of those dudes, and I think it's kind of funny how when you kind of grow into like a look, like he has no choice. Even at 60, he's gonna still have
right. He's that dude. He's that guy.
But yeah, like I always thought Liddell, despite all of his, he was, I mean, dude was a party animal. Why not? Whatever. But I mean, you talk about a guy who's like 6'2" and just would like to fucking fight, like just likes to fight guy.
Right.
Like this. It's a good thing there's a professional outlet for men like that, because it's like, what would they be doing without it? Like,
right. Bouncing a bar in Baltimore in the wrong neighborhood. I don't know. Something.
Yeah, like Liddell, and then who was the other dude? Is the dude that came out with the chains, black dude.
Oh shit, man, what was his name? You're not talking about the guy who was a Street Fighter first, are you?
I don't think so.
That was Kimbo Slice. Kimbo Slice.
Yeah, no, not Slice. Slice was. I mean,
man.
Because we actually just watched like my brother and I watched, this was probably Christmas, like probably 18 or 19. He fought against, of all people, he fought Fedor and got knocked the fuck out super quick. But it was over in like some random fight thing at the time. God, Rampage Jackson.
Oh, Rampage Jackson. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would forget that. Yeah. No shit.
Yeah, like those dudes, like that was such a wild time in UFC, because I felt like those guys were more like characters than they were fighters. Whereas now I feel like everybody's a fighter, kind of.
Well, I think they went through this thing with the UFC where they were trying to like capture some of the WWF money.
Yeah.
Because you remember actually when God damn it, who was he? Was a super heavyweight. Brock Lesnar was going back and forth between the WWF and the UFC, which is crazy, right?
Because he's like me, he doesn't want to get punched in the face.
Well, and also he wants to make money. He makes like 100 times more in the WWF. And actually, even back in the early days of the UFC, Ken Shamrock did that for a while.
Yeah,
he went back.
He was a legit fighter.
His brother. No, he was great, man. Yeah, he actually won a couple UFCs, but he fought in the WWF as well. Man, he needed a paycheck, bro. I get it, man. I get it.
He just didn't have Lesnar's personality. Like that's the one thing about Lesnar. Like he was made to be, a wrestler. Like he's right. It's a good thing there's that for some people, because you kind of need a personality to do it. But I mean, but he was I know he wasn't that good, but he still was like an athletic. He played football for a little bit. Like he was a fucking freak, kind of like Goldberg.
Yeah, no, Lesnar. No, he was legit. No, he was good, man. I mean, he was hard to beat. He kicked some people.
No, he did. But again, like if he would have been more willing to be punched in the face, he probably could have been a legend in UFC. But he just kind of flashing.
Well, think about the paycheck: 100 times more, and it don't get punched in the face.
Well, I think you have to maintain, because I mean, look, what does some dude like Connor do? Like that guy he's the perfect professional wrestler persona, but he still managed to, because Connor, for what, he doesn't mind getting punched. I guess different story too. He came from kind of nothing. I don't know what Lesnar's background is, but yeah, let me go right there, because I don't even know how we got into this, but why not? We're here. Do you, and I actually saw Connor's last fight in Vegas, like when we were dealing with that Anthony dude. Do you remember that? Like, so I saw him like break his foot or ankle, whatever it was. He hasn't fought since. That's 2 years. We're going on literally 2 years to the day, about a week and a half ago. And I know he wants to come back and fight. I know he's put on all this weight and he's going to try and go at like 170. But do you think Connor even has anything left at this point to really offer guys at that level?
Man, no, I kind of think it's done, dude. And you unfortunately see this sometimes. You see fighters, stay long after they should have left. Even back to like Liddell. One of the things that we know about like brain science now, and this applies to fighters as much as it applies to soldiers, there's a number of times where you can like get punched in the face where your body actually gets stronger. It gets harder to knock out because it's like there's a new stimulus and it's accustomed to it. But it reaches a threshold after that where it's like, okay, that's it. Like I'm just going to go out because this is stupid, and you're going to keep getting me hit. And you see this with dudes with overpressure sickness too. I've seen like Delta Force assaulters like almost crippled towards the end of the career by like a small shot that would have not even phased, you know, a 25-year-old. You're like, whoa,
This is too much. Yeah.
this is too much.
Yeah.
You kind of saw the same thing from Liddell, man. His last couple of fights, I mean, he wasn't the same person.
No.
And you know, your body just it has had enough at some point to play at this level. And I hope Connor's kind of you know, goes away gracefully, but you know, that's not really his style either. So
No, it isn't. That's the thing. Yeah, and I know he's the guy he's fighting. Chandler. Ever since he's came to the UFC, I know he had like one quick win, but he hasn't really done much either. And it's just, I don't know. It's kind of a weird fight because, you know, Connor's so much bigger than it. I mean, I know they're at the same weight, but you know, Connor, the one thing he's always had is that reach game. He's got those fucking, you know, chimpanzee arms.
yeah.
You know, so that can help. But he wants to get in there and just fucking fight, which is kind of what I think Connor's always wanted to do. And he always winds up getting out wrestled by people who don't want to do the whole stand up thing. So yeah, I have no idea how that fight's going to go. I just know, like, we already know what's going to happen. Dana's going to jack up the pay-per-view. It's going to sell, and win or lose, Connor's going to do like 10 million in fucking pay-per-view. And it's, you know, he's gonna be fine, which is nothing for him at this point, but I don't know. He has a expensive lifestyle to maintain.
Yeah, that could be a problem too. That could be a real problem too.
Well, when you sell that whiskey, that's what I've been trying. I just need to sell a whiskey label and distillery, and I'll be good. But I haven't.
Right.
I'm not there yet. You know, I did get a sample finally. I'm trying to get that guy on. But other than that, other than getting free samples in the mail, I don't really have, you know, brand recognition to.
Hey, that's a big step though. All right, look, man, these things, you know, that's part of the game. Yeah, I'm not getting free samples of whiskey in the mail.
Yeah, but people send you guns and shit to shoot, right?
Yeah, that's true. But I took a long time to get there. They didn't just start that way. Like, hey, Clay, you're 20. Here, have a pistol. That was a different lifestyle.
I know, that's true. So you still do that stuff though, right? You still do the gun stuff?
Yeah, to a degree. I don't do it as much as I used to. I've actually stepped a lot back into the training business and the consulting business, and less of like the journalism gun stuff side.
Okay,
but I do still do it occasionally though.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I didn't really get into everything you've done, because we've done it a few times before. So, but if you do need to find out what it is you need to know about guns, just from basic knowledge standpoint, I would encourage you to visit Clay Martin's YouTube channel. They haven't taken that down, have they? I know YouTube likes to take stuff down, but
no, we've stayed on the right side of not getting in trouble with that one. So our new
platformed and all.
Right. So we're up at Defiance Training Group is our YouTube channel now. So that's the one, that's the current stuff.
Good deal. All right. So now this is one of the funniest things I wanted to ask you. And if you don't have it, I will send it to you and get your response to it simply or fairly quickly here on the Twitter world. The Civil Air Force dude did you just see that video?
Yeah, man.
Well, yes, like how did we get to this point? Like, for those who haven't, I encourage you to watch it, but it's like a Civil Air Force patrol colonel, and he is a white male, but his whole thing is the only guidance he gives for hiring is to stop hiring middle-aged white males.
Well, he's also like a real legitimate Air Force colonel too.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a billet. So he's like, you know, like a colonel in the Air Force, and that's his guidance. Oh man, you sure you want to go down this road?
I do, because you're saying it, so it's fine. But
that's right.
You are free to say these things at this point.
It's a really good question, and it's something actually I've been asking myself for the last couple of years too. Is how did we get to this point? How did it get this crazy? To be honest, and it's actually gotten a lot worse in the last 2 or 3 years since Joey Boyd took over in the regime palace there. It's weird, man, and it almost has an insidious vibe to it, but it's like the race stuff has become like a cult-like thinking, and this is, I mean, the colonel is a white dude, honestly, too, which is like the weirdest thing. Like, it's become like a cult-like thinking, and like if you don't follow, it's just like the climate stuff, all this other bullshit. Like they don't even question it; they'll think for themselves. They follow the narratives put out, and if you don't toe exactly that line, you're not one of the cool kids anymore. So they just do without thinking, and it's getting crazy. Actually, it's getting absolutely nuts.
Do you think he believes what he's saying?
Yes.
Really?
Here's the thing. I don't think that in like a logical sense. I think I think of it more in like a culty flavor religious sense.
Yeah.
You know, some people with whatever religion, I don't care which one, and it could be arguing, you know, doctrine from somebody inside of that same religion. Throw something at them, and their immediate response is, "I have faith, so that's it." And like, there's no logic that gets to it. You can't make a point past that. It's the shield. That's the same thing I see from these people like him. Like, even though it's a completely illogical and stupid thing for a white guy to say about other white guys, you see that a lot, and I do think they believe it. Yeah, so man, it's weird. It's very weird, but that's
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know. That's clearly not something that's ever not going to be off, whether he takes it down or not. I think like
right.
that's got.
Oh yeah,
I went
that's forever.
yeah, I went and started just seeing like, is this something we're all like just kind of overreacting to, or but that had a lot of traction. So you know someone's talking to him about it one way or the other.
Well, it's probably promotion points at this point, man. Like,
well, that was my thing, because that's kind of, I mean, because that's, I think I talked about this with Heather on her thing the other day, because she makes a good point. It's people just assume like this is widespread, like this is everybody in the military, and it's really this top of the pyramid group,
right?
Because they're all worried about their next promotion or whatever it is that's fueling that. And they, as you just said, you know, at that point, why would that dude do anything to stop himself from getting that star or whatever's next?
Yeah, man.
You know,
that's like an extra like $400 a month in retirement, man. Not to mention like the
principal be damned. Fuck it. Like whatever's.
Well, that's exactly the thing, and that's something the civilians, you know, don't understand. I shock them consistently with this when I say shit like that. Like, we haven't had any good generals since like the 60s. You want to be perfectly honest. We've had some like onesies and twosies that were good, but even some of them ended up being total fucking sellouts after it was over. But you don't get promoted to those ranks by being good at your job. You get promoted to the ranks past lieutenant colonel by kissing ass and towing the party line and checking all the right blocks. And it's not about you did anything good in your career, so nothing bad happened on your watch, and that's how they get promoted. Certainly, when we talk about the star levels, yeah, man, if you have put your politics out there and they don't agree with the regime that's in charge, you're screwed. You're done. You're absolutely finished. So that's why most of them become these kind of wishy-washy kind of, a job that should be apolitical becomes apolitical in a different way. They toe just enough of the party line of whoever's in charge, and say what needs to be said. So yeah, I mean, mostly a bunch of spineless faggots that wear the stars and our military, and they have since about 1955, and that's just how it is.
What started in 1955? I know Eisenhower left and became president.
That was pretty much it. There's not like an event in like 1955, like, oh, that was it. When I look back at the war fight, like the generals that were real war fighters, and there were some after that. Look, there's always been a couple. There's been onesies, twosies. There was Al Gray in the Marine Corps in the 90s. You know, was a platoon commander in Vietnam, like 3 tours. There were you know, a couple of decent generals in Nam, Westmoreland not being one of them. Total ass kissing Nancy boy that didn't want to win.
Did you like Schwarzkopf?
Schwarzkopf was he was a total fucking dumbass. Do you know why he was in charge of Gulf War One?
No.
Do you know why?
No, okay. I have no idea why. So this is great. Because I'm glad because you actually do know your military history, which is great.
Well, I know the shit out of it. I know the shit. Back in the 80s, getting posted in the Middle East was like a backwater, like shit that didn't match. We got the Cold War going on. Like Europe is like, if you're awesome, like you're in Europe, you know, people say about you know, Vladimir Putin, like he never even went to Nam. He was in Berlin, like he's an idiot. Like he's a fucking KGB agent, dumb it. Never mind. Anyway, if you were a good general back then, you know, you were top notch. You went to Europe. Second string's going to go to Asia, where there's still a lot of, you know, power plays going on, a lot of shit going on. Basically, if you were getting put out to pasture, you got sent to the Middle East. It was camel herders, man. Like nobody gives a shit. You know, nobody cared. Schwarzkopf basically got sent to sitcom to be put out to pasture. Like, okay, just go sit over there for a year, and then we're going to force you to retire, and you're done. And then the Gulf War kicked off, and so he's like the hero of the day. And that's the only reason he was even there.
The only thing I remember from Schwarzkopf previously is like, I don't know if you already know this, you may. Did you ever read the book We Were Soldiers? Not the movie, but like the actual, because he's not in the movie, but the book.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, well, in the book, there's like pictures of them. This was post like the
Yeah.
actual events of the movie. Like they're
Yeah.
it's them on like some march to the jungle, and it's
Yeah.
Schwarzkopf. He's the XO. Italian XO with like the sleeves rolled up, and he's got these guns, and he's just jacked holding his rifle. Like, yeah, that's fucking Ruck. You know, I was just like, oh, shit. He was Major Schwarzkopf back then. I wonder who he pissed off, because General Moore got pretty far, but yeah, I always wondered why Moore
Yeah.
stopped at a 3-star as well. But he seemed like
Right.
guys. That was just like,
Yeah. A little bit too much of a cowboy. Like, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now he's got Benning named after him and his wife,
Which is cool. All right,
Yeah, I
which
don't
I'll
know
take. You know,
yeah.
I was very upset about the renaming stuff, but at least they did that one well. Like, I'll give them more of that one. That's cool. That's right on.
Well, that's a good transition. What did you think about the renaming of it? Like, do you think it's just because I mean there was a reason that we did name installations after Confederate general. Like we can't
Oh, yeah,
just
there was.
war. And then there was a whole part of like the Reconstruction,
Well,
making the South like actually, hey, you guys are
well,
a part of this too. And
I mean, do you know the actual reason we named all those bases after Confederate generals?
I'm not gonna lie. What was the
Okay.
reason?
I can't remember off the top of my head if it was World War I or World War II. I think it was World War II. All right, we needed the South on board for World War II, right? Because like
Right.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of war fighters that come from Alabama, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Like
Most of them.
Right.
Why recruiting is down.
Right. You look at like the combat MOS, like the grunt. It's a especially in the Army. Army's a very Southern service and always has been. Even coming from the Marine Corps, that's a weird transition. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, because you guys are used to the Pacific Ocean and shit.
Right. Yeah, a little less.
A little different Fort Stewart, isn't it, buddy?
Yeah.
Hinesville's a little different.
A little more like kind of northeastern pagan sea shit. Yeah. Anyway, so I think it was World War II. They really needed the South on board because that was not a popular war either. Going into it, like even after Pearl Harbor, people were kind of like, I don't know about this one, dog. So that was part of like the thing to get the South like really like. I mean, at that point, we're only like what 60 years. Okay, 80 years past the war. There's still, it wasn't unreasonable. Somebody's like grandfather was still alive and still bitter about some shit that happened. Anyway, they really needed him on board, so that was why they did it. So, do I agree with that? No, it was kind of stupid. In fact, even like as has been pointed out, General Bragg, that Fort Bragg was a complete incompetent boob. Like he sucked at generaling. He was fucking terrible. But they just picked his name out of a hat, basically. I do take offense that they changed it in the modern era, though. At least for like the bases that were legendary to the truth. Bragg being one of them.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know what the hell General Bragg looks like. Until people like remind me that it was a general, like I don't care. Fuck him basically. But Bragg was, a name, and it meant things to generations of soft dudes and airborne dudes. And the same thing with Binning. Binning was, I mean, there's a word means shit to an entire generation of Army infantry or generations of Army infantry. And I'm sure that in the same way, Hood meant something to the armor dudes. So you can't just start, switching that shit around, man. That's preposterous and it's stupid. And it just made everybody mad for no good reason, I feel.
Yeah. And then also, like you mentioned it, there's tradition around that. If you say typical shit I always hear, infantry dudes or anybody's like, where'd you go to basic? Oh, I went to Benning. It's like, okay, well, it automatically separates what people think of the other installations. Right. It's the same thing when you hear Jackson. It's like, oh, you went fucking relax in Jackson or some shit.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, those bases, if you're not teaching the actual, I don't know if it's what is it? What's the not the history? There's a specific word for it. And I'm not talking courtesy and customs, but anyway, you know what I'm getting at. It's just the meaning behind the installation, like where you learn the installation's history, right?
Yeah.
But also just, I've said this a million times when we talk, what's the difference between USAREC and the 82nd, right? Okay, well, everyone wants to go to Bragg, and when they're there, they never want to leave. And no one wants to go to USAREC, and when they're there, they can't wait to leave, right? But Bragg will always be associated with the 82nd Airborne and, these soft commands, like you said, like, because that's
all
their home.
Of them. Yeah.
That's now
their fucking house.
What is it?
Liberty.
Liberty.
It's Fort Liberty. Yeah, it's fucking
Of all the buzzwords we could have chosen, like,
well, here's
like I get it. I love liberty. No one hates liberty, but come on, it doesn't even make sense.
Well, and I think they couldn't name Bragg after like, dude, because you got so much history there. You're gonna go with like JSOC or SF, and our like three groups that have been there, or the 82nd. Like everybody had a dog in the fight.
Yeah.
So it was fucking ridiculous. And speaking for Bragg specifically, because I was there for like 15 years.
Yeah.
I've been everywhere on Fort Bragg. There's not one statue of General Bragg, never has been. I don't even know there was a plaque up that said why the fucking base was named. There was there were like historical markers that showed how it used to be laid out for horse carts to drag artillery. Nobody said shit about Bragg, as opposed to Camp Lejeune for the Marine Corps, which has a big statue of John A. Lejeune. I think they actually pronounce that Lagoon. Now his family's all butthurt or some shit. That's different. It's named after a dude. I don't know shit about General Lejeune. Oh my God, he was probably a slaveholder too. No. Yeah. But the Bragg thing, nobody knew shit about Bragg. I think Hood was probably the same way. Like nobody knew who the fuck General Hood was. They didn't care.
Yeah. But I mean, there's just so many other ways they could have approached it. And I just don't see how that makes anything better, because it's being done for the sake of like placating of a loud minority that like they don't care. The people asking for that. Do you think it's soldiers like going and lobbying fucking Congress to change this shit? No
shit.
Right?
right.
Like you think like third group just showed up as like, you know what? We're really fucking offended, and every day we go to work and train for our next fucking tour.
Shit.
We got to deal with Fort fucking Bragg. No, and like no one. And what's Fort? I assume Fort Lewis is named. Is it Lewis and Clark? Is it actually named after Lewis and Clark, or is that something else? I don't know. Joint Base Lewis or whatever the fuck it actually is.
I think it was, but how long until they dig up some dirt on Lewis and Clark?
Like, he was mean to Indians. He killed a bear.
He kidnapped Sacagawea. Sacagawea did not want to go. She was a war bride.
Oh my God! And what's up? Yeah, what's up there in 10th Mountain Division? What's that one? God.
Oh shit, Drum.
Yeah. What's Drum? I don't even know what Drum's named after.
It's safe. It's a northern base, so it might be. Shit, man. I actually got to look. I
really don't know that. Well, I mean, I'm surprised West Point hasn't been, because people from the east might be offended that it's not East Point.
Well, and I guess Fort Carson's probably safe too, right?
Is Fort Carson actually that a man as well? Carson's good.
That's named after Kit Carson, I believe.
Okay,
I think that's right. So that was probably safe too.
Okay. What about Polk? Polk's changing. I know Polk.
Oh, Polk's changing. Yeah, Polk's changed. Yeah, that's Louisiana. That's bad. Yeah, that's no bueno.
That's no bueno. Stewart, is Stewart good? Because that's Georgia. Hinesville of all places.
I don't know. I think Stewart, being Georgia, is probably named after. See, this is the fucked up thing. Like we're Army dudes, we don't know if they're named after.
You know what fucking name? Yeah, that's the point. Like, so why are you changing it? Like, who are you trying to appease? Not actual soldiers. If you want to actually listen to actual soldiers, I'm cool with entertaining it. But if it's just some loud fucking group who's like, oh my God, this guy was whatever 200 years ago. Come on, man. Like erasing history is just stupid. It just reflects poorly on the actual people in that moment. Because it just makes yourself sound way too emotionally insecure and shallow to even understand the concept of why they may have been named in the first place. Like everyone just puts people on this. Get on the left, and we still do this with politics. It's the same shit. It's not just like left or right, black and white. No, there's actually some nuance to this shit, okay? And I don't know whether you like it or not, but the country wasn't just founded based off of people who you particularly agreed with on everything. Like that's just not how humanity works, man. Like you can't agree with everybody on everything.
Well, I think the big
we argue daily in the chat about somebody's arguing about something, or I'm yelling at somebody for like this. No one gets along on everything. That's just not the real world.
Well, the thing that's killing me right now is if you want to judge people through the lens of history, like they were a good dude or not, I challenge you to find any group 400 years ago and judge them by today's mores, and they were just everything was cool. Like, come the fuck on, man. Like that is not. We didn't get to this point in civilization by everybody being nice and kumbaya back then.
Yeah,
it's just
like, and now all of a sudden, now we're at that moment where it's like, you know what, everybody's great. Why couldn't our forefathers be great too? So,
right. They should have just been cool, man. Everything would have worked out.
Just give me a fucking and I get it. Like there is a part of me that understands the altruistic value of just like, well, we can strive to be, we can, but you can also be honest and understand that like that's just not how shit works or worked. And what you not even well, here's what people can't think or really fathom, and I really can't either. Like, I was fortunate enough to know my great grandmother at one point. Like, I was able to meet her for
Wow.
until I think she died when I was a freshman in college the first time. Like, yeah, she was 93 or 91 when she died. So I knew my great grandmother. But think about, people can't do this. Not your great grandparents, because I think a lot of people may have met them. But go 2 or 3 generations past that. You can't fucking fathom or comprehend what they went through or lived through.
Oh man.
And then you want to try and like place your current level of thinking or your whatever your education level, you want to try and place that label onto them and expect them to, and judge them through that, like you said, like judge them through that moral lens. It's like,
man, like it wasn't that world.
So fucking stupid. Because you may have like I'm the first in my family to have a master's degree. My brother was the first to be college educated. Like, there's a lot of firsts in my family that don't track that far back. But then you go way back into that level, and most people don't have that education level, right? But you know what they could do? They could survive.
Oh yeah.
I think half of these motherfuckers with their $8,000 fucking a day degrees and all the shit they waste money in classes on, and they spent $400 on a textbook. Like, you think they could survive back then? I guarantee you they couldn't.
I'll bring it to a level right there. Have you been to Fort Polk?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Absolute shithole.
Absolutely miserable. Yep.
Shithole right in the bottom of Louisiana.
Not a great place.
My great grandfather helped build that base, and he lived in a tent with his family when they were building the motherfucker.
A tent.
Yes, because that
like
was
a GP medium, GP large. What are we talking?
Like a
shelter half,
like a little box, box
tent. Exactly.
That's what the fucking workers lived in back then. And for all the years that they were down there building that thing, can you imagine living in a tent in that hellhole? I can't. I don't think I would make it.
I did 3 nights during PLDC out there. I hated it.
Yeah,
out in the field 3 nights, and 2 of the nights it rained. Like, I was just miserable. Like, it's fucking miserable.
It's a terrible fucking place. Terrible. And I had a room with air conditioning in it, and it was still a miserable, terrible place. Like, fuck that.
Like, the shit, and this is what I've said so many times with so many guests, or just in general when I have regular conversations with people. It's like, this country specifically, we invent our hardships now and our problems. We invent them. They're not even real.
Right.
Like, when I hear about, just my dad's side, his father, like, dude dropped out in high school or in 8th grade to go fucking be a cab driver.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
The people that used to lie just so they could go join fucking World War II or whatever, like, about their age.
Yeah.
The stuff that people used to have to do compared to the stuff that people put themselves into today, it's not real, man. Like, you're inventing hardships that you really don't experience. Like, you aren't your great grandparents who actually may or may not have been oppressed or whatever. You're just not. And so try to keep that alive. I think Hobby just said it the other day. It was just like, people who keep that mentality around and alive, they're the toxic ones. Yeah. Because you're not allowing any sort of personal growth.
Right.
Like, that's what creates a toxic mentality, is just trying to make yourself take on the hardships of generations before you that you had nothing to fucking do with.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, is like, still what people, I know so many people who are first generation in this country. Like, I don't know if people realize this or not, but the only country people are still washing up on the fucking shore of for a better opportunity in life, regardless of what we know, is still the United States. Right. So
turns out, right.
I haven't lost the PR battle on that yet, but
right.
Yeah, like, I mean, and so that's ultimately, to bring this to, like, the full circle on this, is just like, you said it, in the last 2 to 3 years, it's really spiraled. I have argued a few times that I think this really started when Trump took office, but it's got to stop at some point, right? Like, the pendulum only swings so far before it goes the other direction. And we've been speedballing down the hill on everything. Like, at some point, the average person has to just be like, I'm done with this shit.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm starting to feel like instead of a pendulum swing, this is more of like a religious crusade, and that's the end state. They're gaining momentum. They're just keep gaining momentum until they can just do whatever the fuck they want. And I think that's a lot of the problems that we're headed to.
We're just godless.
Well, we have a new god, but it's Gaia or whatever bullshit. It's not even really a god. It's like a person that it's what's the little troll from Norway called? What's her fucking name?
Oh shit. Fuck.
Yeah,
Oh,
you know what I'm talking
Greta
about. Greta.
Thunberg.
Greta. Yeah, Greta. Fucking Greta Thunberg.
I still don't understand why anyone pays attention to it. What did she do to earn any sort of like credibility? Like, why is she meeting with Zelensky? For what? To talk about what makeup she's going to use? I don't understand.
Well, she
He
had
was
the
an actor. They use makeup. Like,
right.
maybe I don't get it.
Fucking says right. No, it makes sense.
I don't understand why like this person is being chaperoned through a quote war zone to meet with the president of a nation at war. Like,
right.
What?
Well, there's no fucking war. He's in front of the green screen making shit up. Like, he's not in trouble.
Vanity Fair articles and photos.
Did you see that?
Come on, man.
Not only is he in trouble for buying his parents a house in Miami, but his defense minister's under fire right now because his daughter just bought a $7 million house in or €7 million house. I don't know, like the fucking one of the Caspian Sea or some bullshit. Like, that's weird.
Was he independently wealthy before he became president? Like, I don't know.
No,
because I know he was an actor, so I don't know if he was.
He's a fucking actor. No, dude, come on. He was an actor on Ukrainian television.
That's I don't know what they make. I don't have no idea.
It's not like being the Rock. All right.
Yeah, exactly. You make 20 million is just for showing. Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I did just see another 1.3 billion was announced, so that could help finance that.
That's cool. That should help. That should help get some more houses and stuff. But anyway, to the pendulum swing. That's the thing, man. I don't think it's a pendulum issue anymore. I think it really is like a religious fervor, and they're gathering strength for a crusade, and then they're going to go absolutely fucking crazy, and it's going to be real bad. It's going to be real bad.
I mean, that's a great point. You mentioned the word crusade because we've had these throughout history a few times, right? And it's usually Catholics and the Muslims, but
right.
I mean, I got 2 or 3 really good Muslim friends who are, they're just as pissed off about the shit that's going down as, the Catholics and the other ones who take religious seriously. So what do you think about like the next major crusade actually being like a joint venture between the Catholics and the Muslims?
Oh, sorry. I think the people that have the strength of the crusade right now is the greenies. That's who I'm talking about. The green. I think they're the ones that have the crusade.
Who's that?
I think all the climate weirdos, all the climate dudes.
Yeah, but
I think they're going to push us out is what they're trying to do. I think it's their crusade.
Yeah, but I mean, how are they going to do that? They're not. They don't want to be violent.
They don't have to be. They control.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Someone eventually is going to be like, all right, enough of the peaceful encroachment on my entire way of life. Now the real violence starts.
Well, I think it's going to have to, because they have all the levers of power for government right now, like all of them. They're doing this crazy shit. Like somebody just had to admit that the push for electric cars is about reducing car ownership. Just saw yesterday or today. It is. Yeah, indeed. Just car ownership. just saw yesterday on Zero Hedge. They're talking about like auto premiums have doubled in a lot of states because it's more difficult to replace cars. The supply line is still fucked up. All this other bullshit. Payouts actually for medical malpractice or for like injury are higher. So all this shit is like a push to make it difficult or impossible for a normal dude to own a car. Why? Less carbon.
Okay, you know what? Give me a fucking break with this fucking.
It's fucking true, man. Look at it.
I know, but it's just
it sounds crazy, but it's what they're doing.
It's just so dumb. Like this whole carbon fucking footprint shit. It's like, look,
dude, what was it? 15 countries in Europe yesterday or the day before agreed not to farm anymore to reduce greenhouse gas. Like, huh? No, this shit's crazy, but it's happening.
It's gotta it's gotta stop. It's gotta stop. It has to. It has to. There has to be. There's a breaking point for it. And we're not special. I've said this too. Like we're just the next great society that's at its. We're on the downhill side. Like right. We know that. All right. We're Rome 2,000 years ago. We're fucking. It's our time. I don't know how many decades it's going to be or generations, but yeah. Like, stop asking people running for office if like America's best days are ahead of us, because they're not. Let's just
Right.
stop pretending. Okay. Just be honest, be like, no, they're not, but we got to try and make the best of what we got left.
Right.
Because that's where we're at.
Right now we're 50. We're driving that Corvette. We are going to the nudie bar trying to get a girl. Like we're not doing good. We're not doing good.
We are Hoist Gracie coming out of that bar ready to go up to the next fucking fight. Like, yeah, what's up? Who wants this? Yeah, but no, I do seriously think, like, I mean, history's, I feel, pretty important when it comes to a lot of this stuff, because I don't think a lot of our problems are very unique. It's just different because we know a little bit more now. But no, I kind of think it would be great if like Catholics and Muslims just got together and like, we're going to eradicate the real fucking evil that's going on in this planet right now.
Let's fucking do this.
Yeah, and then we'll divvy it up at the end, because there's a lot of, like I said, like I think it's the kids thing that's kind of like the line. Like that's the line.
That is bro. That may be the one thing that they've like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Underestimated people's response. Because people are not happy.
No, but and it's honesty too, right? Because and this is where I'll transition into that next. But like, regardless of what people think of Andrew Tate, that interview he just did with Tucker Carlson, he makes a great point. He's like, the stuff that people don't want to acknowledge or really get involved with, whether it's the trans fucking people or whatever, regardless of what you think of them, but they need people's kids to carry on because they can't procreate on their own. So they need to come for your kids. Like and there's enough videos and stuff of them out there on these parades talking about, yeah, we are coming for your kids. I'm like, okay, I am very, very fortunate. My daughter is 17. So you're not going to get my kid. However, if I was a young parent and I have young children, I mean, there's no negotiation.
Mine are 5 and 7. How do you think I feel about that?
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, you're kind of the guy I don't want to pick this fight with. That's my point, right? Like, of all the people where it's like, oh, that's the person's kids I'm going to go after, Clay Martin's kids probably aren't them, right? Because it's not going to end well. But that's a great point. So you have 2 young children. So you're seeing this shit in real time as a parent. And even your wife must.
Oh yeah, bro. She is like,
yeah, because we don't really know much about Miss Martin, but I would just assume, most of us are very protective.
Right. Very much. Yeah. And, I mean, to the point that like we didn't put our kids in public school. We homeschool them. Because at this point, like, you can't.
Greg does that too. That's a big thing, man. Dale does that. Like, there's so many dudes that we know that do that now. That's crazy.
Well, it's weird. It's something that I wouldn't have considered like even 5 years ago.
Yeah, no, with you 100%. Yeah.
But now shit's so weird that I'm like, no way, man, no fucking way. And I was in a group chat yesterday. And somebody was talking about, well, I don't want my kids to be the weird kids. Like, motherfucker, have you seen what passes for normal out there? Like, like I want my kids to be the weird kids.
I fucking sign me up for the weird kids.
Right? No shit.
Seriously, that'll become the normal.
Right. But yeah, no, man, it's fucking nuts. But it is funny. It should also be in some ways an insult to the Christians of this nation, because we're 70% Christian nation on paper. It has been the Muslims so far that are pushing back on this shit. Both in California, they just whacked some PPs up in I think Minnesota. Yeah, so they're not having this
Muslim
shit.
Population up there. Yeah. It's weird how the Midwest or the North, what is it? The middle North, I guess, not the Midwest. But like, anyway, Michigan, Minnesota, huge Muslim populations up there. I don't understand that. Maybe they just wanted to get as far away from the heat of the Middle East as possible.
Right,
like, let's just take the winters of Michigan and Minnesota. Just fucking roll with it.
Do you have any fucking sand dunes? Like, no, we got icebergs. They're like,
yeah, we got ice fishing. How's that sound? Oh, fuck it, let's do it.
Fucking wonderful. Dude showed her from Kuwait in the summer wearing a fucking full park and shit. But yeah,
where's the sun? Where's the sun? Well, the sun's not here for the next 4 months. Relax, let's go sit over there. It'll come back.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I mean, honestly, I'm all for that, man. Like, I really do. I don't care who does it, but at some point there has to be some sort of really like whether it's legislatively or what. But I mean, I even thought like this Christina Wong, she just posted that article she wrote about this bill that just came out of the House for the National Defense Authorization Act, right? Like the actual bill they put forward, I don't know how much of it survives the Senate. Maybe a lot of it will, because it actually was passed through the bipartisan, House Armed Services Committee. But there's actually some teeth in that shit. Like it actually, for almost a second, I thought we may actually have some real Republicans in office that might actually mean what they campaign on, instead of just doing it until they get there and they're like, oh, fuck, we're cool for 2 years.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe that actually sticks. But yeah, at some point, people need to start realizing that Biden's not there for much longer, whether it's his election or just based on his, I mean, the guy's just old. I don't make fun of Biden. I just don't, because I watched my grandfather go through this. Like,
right. No, it's horrible,
like,
man.
Yeah, it's like, so what comes next is like something people really need to pay attention to, right? Is it Harris? Is it Newsom? Is it whoever? Like, there's not a lot of great options that are like centrist driven, who are just like, let's bring together, right? No, we're just as far out there as we can, and you're either coming with us or you're not. Like, they're not trying to bring people together. And then the only real legitimate option is the guy that they'll never let be president again on the Republican side. They're never letting Trump be president again.
Oh no, man. Fuck no, man.
Never gonna happen.
Nobody's letting that happen.
No, it's not happening. No. And he's the only one with a real chance. And that dude, like, it's just, where are we, Clay? Make it make sense. Where are we at? Like, what the hell is going on?
Totally fucked.
Yeah. Oh, you're not getting any false sense of hope out of tonight. You're just listening to this point. Yes, you're right. It's totally fucked. This is it.
What's happening. Yeah,
it's actually happening. And it kind of sucks that we're just, I'm not saying we're too old, but we're not like,
no, we're not 25.
Yeah, that sucks, doesn't it?
You remember being 25 and healing up like fucking Wolverine? Like,
you don't give a shit. You're just like,
take like a sucking chest wound and be like, fuck, that hurt. And then just, drink like 4 beers and you're fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Those days are kind of gone. Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. Like, we're both obviously still taking care of ourselves and training and all that stuff, but still, there's a difference between 42 and 25,
Turns out.
Especially when the apocalypse comes,
Fuck.
All right, so that is what I got a few things on here still before I let you get out of here, but I mean, the more I go down, I really didn't know who the fuck Andrew Tate was until about 2 weeks ago. Like,
I didn't either, and I still don't really care.
I don't really care either. I just think his message makes sense.
Yeah, kind of. Okay, all right. He's not a complete shitbag, because he is at least saying some right things, but I still just can't get behind this like alpha male, like it is
that is kind of like,
yeah, man, like
$9.99 you can be part of
right
part of my wolf pack.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah,
like the stuff like I can understand, and he says he's out of it, which maybe he is because he can afford to be out of it now, but like people coming on this like moral high ground on how the man made his money. It's like, oh, this is what you're mad about, how like he's the one person you're mad about making money this way. But all the people that you sit there and retweet all their fucking OnlyFans accounts and all this bullshit, or it's like, every one of these companies who just has all their production overseas because that's where they can get the fucking cheap child labor, like those guys are fine,
right?
Now you have the moral whatever, whatever. Like I stay out of that business. That's not my thing. I try to focus on the dude's message, and I think
he does at least have a, the things he says publicly is I do like that he's at least saying them, because he does have the attention of a lot of young men, and what he's saying in those regards is not all bad, and I'm down with that. We need some kind of positive fucking message right now.
Yeah, I agree. And that's kind of and plus the other stuff that I do kind of respect is that like you don't really see a lot of dudes doing the stuff he does from a physical standpoint, right? Like he's like, no, get in here and train and actually and fight, like do the stuff that men historically have been, well, at leleast strong men have done throughout fucking history, right? And I did like what he said on the Tucker interview where because he admits we're kind of living in the society where females are in very high positions of power and authority, and a lot of them are running certain aspects of the country. And he's like, or society in general. He's like, that's never been done before. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's never been done before, and we're going to find out, right?
That's right. And I'll go ahead and say that that's a recipe for destruction, and we're going to fucking pay for it. But again, I can say that, and
you can, and you should, if that's how you feel. You should say, "But this is a safe space."
For now.
Yeah.
If you know, it could be very much argued, and my wife hates it when I say this, so I'm going to say it anyway. She's a very strong woman, feminine, and all this other bullshit. Like, but if we repealed the 19th, like, we would be in a much different position, and ultimately we would be better off. And that's just kind of the way shit is, man. And this is something that we've really ruined for ourselves in the West. Is traditionally, men exercised hard power, like political power, able to chop your fucking face off with an axe. Women exercised soft power, which was essentially influence over their husbands, and that was how they got shit done. And they got shit done amazingly well that way, even in like societies where you'd think it's not that way, like Viking societies, for instance. Like, women like ran the fucking house, like straight up, like ran shit. And even goddamn, what was his name? There was this crazy ass barbarian king. I forget his name. He was one of the first. He was one of the guys that sacked Rome. When Rome got sacked, but he also, like, it's like historically accurate. His wife like made him baptize their children, and like 3 of them died, and he would just like bitch about it at the boys' club, like, God damn it, she made me baptize. And it's a fucking German barbarian king. Like, his wife exercised power. That's the way shit has always worked, and it works better that way.
I like when we get the same notifications. That's fun.
Oh yeah. just
yeah. No, I mean, it's a fair point, and I get kind of. I just get I think the message overall. I think somebody in that chat was just like, it's not so much the message I have an issue with; it's him that they have an issue with. Cool, I can respect that. I can see that. Fine.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Okay, who do you want saying that message? I guess, like, who's supposed
to? That's the problem, man.
Until we get Joe Kent in office, I mean, what do you want to? You can only do so much.
Let's say that he was. Oh, hey, this is my son running.
Here we go.
All right. So let's say that Tate's a total shitbag. Like, okay, he still does. He's got a lot more power and influence over young men than I do, or that anybody else I know that's actually a good role model does. So as long as he's pushing it right a little bit, I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Just don't let your son here sign up, because you can
tell
him
the same
stuff. You can tell him the same stuff.
He's gonna kick Andrew Tate's kid's ass in 20 years.
That'll be great.
Heard it now. Go ahead and take your bets. Put it on the board.
All right. So I did want to do this. I did kind of want to do this like happy hour. Well, okay, there's 2 things I want to get from you real quick.
Sure, man. Yeah, dude, we got time.
This
oh.
I don't even know what the dude's real name is, but the King Pick Media dude, the dude that's always doing like the punch out and go to work. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Do you know that guy?
No.
I was wondering if you know or not, but he's on Twitter. He's always like doing like these where he's like, "Where's Chow?" is like his thing, and it's like punch out.
Oh, yeah, no, that guy's awesome. Yeah, that guy's legit.
I wondered if you actually knew him or not, because I know
I don't know him, but he gets so many things right. He's got to be a fucking something. He's got to be a Rangerback guy or a SF something. He's got to be something.
It's like, pretty fucking funny.
There's no fucking way that guy like actually a cooker, because he is so good.
I know. I've tried to get him on a few times, but he's kind of reluctant. He's like, he doesn't want to talk about himself, like, which is cool. I respect. He's humble and all. And I got that. I'm like, dude, we don't need to talk about yourself at all.
Well, he's got to kind of stay in character. Like Matt Best, when he was coming up, he's got to stay in character.
Yeah.
But I like that. I would go to a shooting course with that guy.
It makes sense. He just posted something. Yeah, like he posted something before you came on. So you probably haven't been on Twitter since then, but yeah, go. It's like the instructor's instructor. He's just
no.
It's fucking funny. It's funny. It's funny as shit. He's like, anybody who's got anything more high speed than what I've prepared for this block of instruction, get off my range. It's just fucking funny, dude. It's fucking funny. That's good. All right. So last thing. All right. I know we talked about it a little bit, but I mean, we're going to be forced. We're going to be fed it. We're going to see it for the next 18 months. Well, at least the 12 until they announce I think July is when they do the convention. It's in Milwaukee. Republicans doing their national convention in Milwaukee next July. Thoughts on just Trump in general? Like, we agree they're never going to let him be president again, but I mean, we're going to see this play out. No one's going to take the nomination from him, right?
Maybe. All right. Here's what I don't like about Trump. And this is a personal thing.
Yeah.
I will never forgive Trump because he got to the fucking Rubicon and found out he didn't have a spine. All right. If the shit he said was true, or if he really believed it, let's think about this. If he was like, ah, man, they just stole the election. Like, this is totally fucked. And then he just, when he had the chance to call the banners, didn't do anything. That makes him the worst traitor to the Republic there's ever been. All right. Not because he was actually, the guy that did it, because he was sitting in the fucking office and he didn't have the balls to fix it.
What do you think he should have done?
Should have called the banners. Should have been like, you know what? Fuck it, man. This election was stolen. Let's get it on.
That would have been wild.
It would have, but he should have done it at a time that he had the power to do it. What happens now? Well, now everything is fucked. Now we've lost the power. We will not get it back. And if we do claw it back, it will be much, much more difficult to do.
Yeah. I love the lighting you got going on there.
Yeah, that's my son,
the light director.
My son grabbed the remote and hauled ass out of the room.
We've hit that part of the script where we get the lights. It's wild. It's up there at the encore.
I can dance if we need to. I'll do it.
Yeah, always good for a good dance. No, I think it's funny because I think the first time that you were on was just prior to the election in 2020.
Oh yeah.
Last time you came on, we talked about how that didn't play out how everyone thought.
No, shit. Yeah.
And then now it's here. So then, all right, now again, it's always, we'll follow up in a year or a little bit, maybe a little later, maybe post-election next year. But yeah,
I like it.
What do you think? What are you leaning? What do you think is happening?
Well, let's pregame election. Maybe you should have a guest panel pregame the election. Like,
that would be
I
good.
come on, like bring everybody out for like 10 minutes or something.
Yeah,
and then we'll meet up post after and
that's a good idea.
Here's what I think happens in 24. I don't really give a shit who we run, DeSantis, Trump, whoever they pick. I think what happens is Dominion decides again, and they decide either Kamala or Newsom, whoever they want to win that. I think Newsom is that's my guess. I think Kamala's done too. Nobody likes her. But I think Newsom is the next president, and he wins in 28 and 32 or whatever, or 24 and 28.
I thought I thought this was kind of funny. So I hang out with one of my cousins out here, and he's got a lot of left-wing friends, and they don't like Newsom.
Yeah,
he doesn't play like outside of California. Like they don't like.
Right.
They don't like which is my biggest thing with him is he's a hands talker. He's.
Oh yeah, man.
All over, like,
right,
everything,
right.
like
in the hair, man.
Yeah, which is weird. Like, because I mean, I get it. You're thinking like the machines are going to come up with who wins, but he doesn't really play on this side of the coast, which is kind of interesting because these people are all super like you have to be out here, and they're like, no, we don't like Newsom. He's fucking creepy and weird.
Right.
Which I'm like, you're right, he is. Absolutely.
But I think they will get behind him, even just if either Trump or DeSantis, whoever, behind Newsom, just so it's not that fucking guy anyway. I mean, they might not like Newsom, but they fucking hate Trump. And,
they really do.
They really don't care for
this. He's not going to be president again. Not going to happen. Oh,
no.
Yeah.
There's zero chance of that happening.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement, man. All right, brother. I appreciate you spending a little happy hour with me. It was a good time.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, no, it was a good time. It was awesome, as always.
Yeah. All right, and then okay, so if they made it this far, we've talked about the book. Say it again for them, the title, because I still can't pronounce it.
Wrath of the Wendigo.
Wendigo, there we go. Wrath of the Wendigo. You can follow him on Twitter at Way Off the Res, RES. That is Clay Martin. Thanks for hanging out, brother.
Thanks, brother.
All right, man. And